Welcome to Dreams Inspire Reality Podcast with Tara Darnley, a podcast for creatives looking to turn their dreams into reality with practical strategic steps from everyday people and entrepreneurs who are living their best lives possible.
Hey guys, welcome to the 15th episode of Dreams Inspire Reality. This week, we are definitely keeping up with the Jones. This week, I'm interviewing Keon and Charis Jones. This husband and wife are living their best lives while pursuing separate entrepreneurial ventures. Charis Jones, the owner of Sassy Jones, created an award-winning accessory brand deeply rooted in the belief of helping women feel undeniably confident about themselves. After ranking as a top sales professional for a Fortune 500 company, she left her corporate position to build her brand full-time. Today, Sassy Jones has earned Boutique of the Year and has been featured in Fashion Bomb Daily and Essence.com. During her studies at Hampton University, she learned the importance of differentiation in the marketplace and building lasting customer relationships. Today, undeniably, her favorite place in the world is on her couch with her husband and 2-year-old twin boys. Keon Jones is on the way to becoming a real estate mogul with more than 15 years of professional sales experience. A career in real estate was the perfect path for Keon. Using his strengths developed over the years, he's able to apply his negotiating and sales skills on behalf of his clients. When he's not working with his clients, he enjoys spending time with his family and visiting wineries. This dynamic married couple gives amazing advice on building wealth and legacy while maintaining a healthy and happy marriage. Guys, you're going to love this one. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. How are you guys doing?
We're crazy busy, but we are, but we are great. There's great things happening and we're super excited about it. So, no complaints at all. What about you, babe?
Same, just crazy busy, but I can't complain. Things are actually going really well, so I'm excited.
I love that you guys started with the truth because we don't normally get the truth, right? We get, okay. The number one question I always start off with all my guests is, are you living your dream life?
I would have to say yes. I would say the dream life with the room for improvement. So I would say that. What about you, babe?
I would honestly, I'm almost there. And so I actually have a corporate job as well. And I just started getting into real estate. Previously, we've had investment. And so this go around, I was like, okay, it's time to learn it, really get out there and hit the ground running. So the good news is, for me, I'm starting to live it. I had my first closing on Tuesday.
Woo woo! Congrats.
And thank you. And got my first listing within the first 30 days of jumping into real estate. So things are really, really going good. And I'm in the process of listing my second home.
Crazy.
Wow. That is amazing, right? Because we've heard tons of stories, and normally I love that you basically executed. You said, I have my full-time job, but I'm still going to execute, and that's what you did, and you're already seeing the result. Take us back a little bit. In your own words, who are you guys? Who are you, Charis? Who are you, Keon? In your own words. And Keon, you could start first.
I would say for me, I'm more of a go-getter. And I think one big thing for the both of us is we hold each other accountable on a different level. It's not one of those situations where we're comfortable with just getting by. We're not comfortable with just the basic. For us, it has to be a challenge. We challenge each other, but we also challenge each other in our own career. And so I think for me, it's just really getting out there and making mistakes, but also learning from those mistakes. And also at the same time, just thriving in what I'm doing.
And you, Charis?
I would have to say I'm just a silly girl who doesn't take no for an answer, who doesn't believe that there are impossibilities. I very much believe that if there's anything that you want, if you put in the right work and meet the right people and do the right things, you can make it happen. And I love to laugh. I love to goof off. And when I get so tied up in work, and I get really far away from that girl that I know I am, it weighs heavy on me, because I'm like, why aren't things fun? So I know that when things are fun, I'm doing something right.
And Charis is like the all-around girl, right? If you've seen Charis online or wherever, you're like, in your head, she's your friend. Like, she's that kind of person. She's cool. She's down to earth. And I guess, Charis, that will take us into my second question in terms of your business. In terms of your business and branding, how were you able to build your company so fast and so successful with you as the forefront of your company? Can you share some tips with us? Because I know most people shy away from being the face of their company, but I think you are a great example of someone who does it so effortlessly and perfectly. So can you share some insight on how you do that?
I appreciate that compliment. That sounds great. It certainly, I don't take myself very seriously, and I certainly don't see what everyone else sees. I'll say that. And it never felt fast. I have been in business for, this year will be 5 years. And really the last 2 years have been the years that have taken off for me. And the things that have changed the game for me is really grit, straight grit and hustle. I left my corporate job with an exit strategy of doing these trade shows, like up and down the East Coast, like 2-3 shows a month. And this is like when my twins were born and when I decided to go full time. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to stay home with the boys, like during the daytime. I decided to go like full force entrepreneurship, like working all day. And it had its ups and its downs. And I did that for an entire year. And then at the end of the year, I got so burnt out that I was like, I might just have to go back to work and just live a regular life and have my sanity. Or I can work my business way smarter. So I decided to throw my back into online, and I promised that I would never, ever do another trade show that year. And I just started to utilize social media much smarter. I started to take myself way more serious. When I posted, it was professional posts. It was professional looking content. So it was eye-catching, and my brand is a visual brand. So any touch point on social media has to be alluring. So that's the biggest thing I think that really changed the game for me, is just really inspirational imagery and videos. And then the second thing is live streaming. That is hands down, if not the top thing that has really catapulted me. Is just really letting the consumer learn about the face behind the brand and the brain behind the brand and who that person is. And it really makes a connection with the customer. So the next time they're thinking about making a purchase in my industry, we're top of mind.
You both mentioned that your husband talked a little bit about what he's doing now, but you had an exit strategy, and I'm sure your husband is planning the same thing. How important is that for anyone who's starting, working on their side hustle and they're, about to exit? How important is it to have an exit strategy and a goal? And I guess, Keon, you could answer that since you're in that process.
I think the big thing for me is just building my database. I mean, real estate is really about relationships, and is really using the individuals that I know and really putting myself out there and marketing myself. So my background is marketing and sales. And so I'm just taking that knowledge that I've had in my corporate career for the last 10 years and just transitioning it over into real estate. But it's creating, and the wife asks me every day, what is your exit strategy? When are you ready to leave? And so getting that support from her, but also just sitting down and looking at it realistically. What is my, ultimate goal at the end of the day? And so for me, it's really just taking a step back and looking at when do you want to do it and what does it take to do it?
Charis, going back to you, you mentioned that, for the first couple of years you did the trade show and that worked, but then, it wasn't what was going to, pivot your business. So what were some of why did you not want to go back to trade show? Because I know even in my industry, which is the baby industry, trade show is practically dead right now in terms of there is no worth in going it. And that's just my experience. But for you, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to invest in this show. $5,000 is $10,000, but there's no results. So what were some of the lessons you learned while doing the trade shows?
I learned to cash it as a marketing expense.
Gotcha.
That's the only thing that like really helped my brain wrap around the lack of immediate return. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this show, I'm going to go ahead and put it into the marketing budget. And then that helps me feel better about the outcome because, you did gain leads, you did increase your email list, and those are all marketing efforts. But me, I'm looking for the cash return, like immediate, like come and buy, and sometimes entrepreneurs, we sort of forget about the follow-up, we forget about the long term, and we're really thinking day to day and here and now. So if you are looking to do trade shows, just look for long term, because I wouldn't say that there is an instant immediate return all the time.
That is so true. Like oftentimes you go to a trade show and it's just to get the contact or to meet that one buyer or that one person. Let's talk about, you guys as a team, because I think oftentimes we see one person, and even though they're married, we just see that one person and we're like, okay, they're killing it. But I believe the strongest team that we have is our family, right? The family that we're building at home. So tell us a little bit about your dynamic team, your husband, and having twins, and how do you guys balance everything, being successful and insane, because that could all drive you. Let's be real, right? Kids and business. I think we don't talk about that often enough, but it's just a total another beast, just adding kids to like having a business. So let's be real, break that down. How are you guys dealing? Because I know when I found out you guys had twins, I was just like, who is this woman? Like, how is she doing that? Like, I can't even do a live stream and I have one at the time. So I'm like, no, this is not real. She had like 20 babysitters over there or something. So let's break it down, share some tips, and I'm listening and taking notes.
Okay. Well, I will say the village is strong over here. So we are both go-getters, and we are not going to let the children be an excuse or a holdback. The children for us were actually a motivator. And really, for me, it was the game changer, because I went harder after I had the kids before I had the kids and had no real responsibilities.
True.
So I know it's the craziest thing, but they motivate you in that way because you just want to give them the best life possible.
Yes.
But what we do on a day-to-day basis, I've tried, when they were born, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. That was the goal. I would run my business and then take care of the boys simultaneously. And then when I found out that I could not do that, and it actually felt like failure to me, because I have superwoman syndrome. And so if there's something that I can't accomplish successfully, like it legit depresses me. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'm working. I've got to send the kids to daycare. Like this was not in the plan, at all. But I want them to have a great life, and, they have to have certain things. So off to daycare they went. I didn't like daycare at all. It just wasn't for us. It just wasn't. So I actually stole one of the workers out of the daycare and hired her as my nanny.
Wow.
Yeah. And the boys knew her. They loved her. And she is with us. So she works during the day from 8:30 to 4:30. And while we're away working, I'm at my office, Keon is working. And in the evening, we're just like any other regular family. And it is crazy, It is ridiculous in here. Like I've recently just become okay with the toys being everywhere, because as of a month ago, I was trying to pick up everything and it was just making me lose brain cells. But being okay that things are not going to be perfect, that your house is not going to be clean, that there's going to be loads of laundry still sitting around. There's going to be emails that need to be answered. There's always going to be something. It's never going to be enough. And just being okay with knowing that is like 90% of the battle.
You said a whole lot of words. I think we all struggle with that, the supermom syndrome. And I know when we started, my husband used to tell me the same, like, you're not superwoman. Like, it's okay to be horrible parents for like 2 seconds. That's okay. And we completely go through that. So thanks for sharing. How do you guys maintain your marriage? Because let's talk about that. I know when we started, it was like la la land, fairyland. We're going to be married, beautiful, running a successful business, amazing kids. No one told us, and I don't think there's any book out there that warned us, marriage, being new first-time parents, and having a business, it's insane. How are you guys, and this is for Keon, like, how were you able to like say, okay, I have to share my wife, because especially with you and Charis is always doing live streaming and, you know, all this fantastic stuff. So how are you able to say, okay, I have to allow my wife to be amazing and I'm not going to get all the quality time? How are you guys able to work through that? Do you guys set date nights? What are some of the tips that you could, you know, offer our married viewers or listeners rather?
I think that we both look at each other smiling. I think we kind of came into it with not setting certain expectations and kind of just living in the moment. And one of the biggest things for us was when we first met, I'm not the planner. I like to do last minute stuff. And so for us, it was always like when we first met, you know, we'll get off work on a Friday, we'll pack our bags and we'll go to Atlanta, or we'll go to Charlotte, or we'll just do something for the weekend just to enjoy each other's time. And I think one of the things that we kept doing, even after having kids and starting successful businesses, is still doing the same thing. The difference is we have the kids with us sometimes. And I think that honestly for us and for me, it's just not having those expectations to a degree and enjoying the moments that we do have. I find what she's doing for me, like she knows it. It's very attractive. Like her success for me is attractive. It's motivational. It's attractive. I like to see her in that moment. One, because she's happy.
I love you, Charis.
And I think that, you know, it's not about, for me, as the husband, it's not about, you know, oh, we don't spend enough time together. You know, it's one of those situations when, and she told me this, she was like, well, you're going to be busy when you get into real estate on the weekends. And look, you know what, you're right. And so on the weekends, I am busy in real estate. Mm-hmm. But we take any little bit of time we have that we can spend time together as a family, time together. And like this morning, I was about to walk at the door and she just got home from the gym. She was like, I want to go to breakfast. And so I waited for her to get done. We had an amazing breakfast, and I sent her to the spa today for an hour and a half. And so I think for us, it's more the small things.
Yes.
So we take any little time we can get, even if it's going to just get an ice cream cone from McDonald's at the drive-thru.
Yes.
And a lot happens in that little bit of time. But I think, you know, for us is taking any little moment that we can get to have those deep conversations, to spend quality time together, to have a movie night, pop popcorn, have a glass of wine. It's just taking advantage of the time we have versus stressing ourselves about about planning out stuff so far in advance.
Just not set an expectation. I think we do that so much, right? We were like, okay, this needs to be this way. We need to go out that was just perfect. That was indeed perfect. Charis, we're going to jump to you. And what your husband just said, he admires what you do. And I think everyone does, right? Because like I said, you just have this lovable personality. And that is, you know, definitely shown within your branding. You are now what we will call someone who's an expert in turning customers into raving fans. And not even raving fans, but you have a cult following, right? A cult following of women that just want to look good. So how were you able to do that?
You know, honestly, I cannot.
Don't be humble. Don't be humble about it.
Oh. I don't know any other way to be, but I will tell you, honestly, it's really just being who you are,
Yes.
just being yourself. That is really the main thing, because I'm going to tell you, when I first got started, like in a boutique, or as a boutique, like on Instagram and stuff, I was looking to my left and my right, trying to do what everyone else was doing. And I would, send like the product to bloggers and like the makeup girls, and just trying to get noticed any way that I could, but doing it how everyone else was doing it. And it never worked for me. It like never worked for me. So I'm like, you know what? Bump this. I'm a pretty dope chick. Why don't I get in front of this camera? Why don't I let the people meet the owner and like start getting out there and being noticed, you know? And so I did. And that was really the initial turning point for my brand. As far as like making customers or turning customers into raving fans, the only thing I can say is just treating people how you would want to be treated. And I also try to create a very memorable experience when shopping with us, whether it is from the product descriptions or you seeing yourself in the jewelry, by just reading a product description, to the touch points. When you get your order updates, OMG girlfriend, your box is in the mailbox, or your shipment is in the mailbox, run outside, you know, like just all these exciting customizations that we do when speaking to our customers via email and all. It creates excitement. So, and even on the flip side, when things go wrong with an order or with a customer, they're very emotional about it. More so than most, because we've created that emotional connection with them, you know? So, it just comes with the territory, and we do it like a lifelong sort of thing, you know, like they come to the sparkle parties every week. They interact on social media consistently, and we talk back to them, and we know their names, and we remember their screen names and call them like instantly. And it really makes a difference. So that's what really encourages the lady to tell her cubicle neighbor about Sassy Jones, you know. So it's worked so far.
For sure. And your customer service is impeccable. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, for you stood out to me as a customer, because you really cared about, you know, you cared about us. Like, you cared about how we looked, you cared about how we feel. And that's for sure. You can see that when you go live. So guys, make sure you're going live. And if you need examples, make sure you're following Charis at Sassy Jones. Keon, what made you interested in going into real estate, especially now? I think now the market is definitely good. Sometimes there's definitely highs and lows. So what made you go into real estate, and what are some of the challenges you're seeing right now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was is over the years, I've built really, really, really strong, you know, friendships, connections with people over, you know, from having, you know, multiple careers and jobs over the years, and I've maintained those. And I think the biggest thing for me to lean into real estate was, one, my wife, you know, really stepping out there and doing it. And, you know, granted, nothing is easy at the beginning, but seeing her drive and success in it just pushed me to say, you know what, it's time for me to lean over to something I've been thinking about doing for quite a while. And I think what made me jump into doing it was I got tired of people asking me, do I know of a agent? So I was doing more referring people to random people that I might have met, you know, in previous jobs or just in general. And it was like, okay, I could be selling them a home myself. I could be listing their home myself. And so honestly, my first listing was a coworker. You know, my second listing is a referral. You know, these are people who typically reach out to me because they know me and want to know if I know of anybody that could help them. And so for me, it was like, why not? You know, what am I waiting around to do? Let's get started. And so for me, it's time to just make that step and just go out there and actually just make it happen, and put myself out there. And it has been a blessing. I cannot complain. It is going at the pace that I'm comfortable with, because I'm still new in it and learning a lot. Mm-hmm. And the team I'm on has been amazingly supportive. So
I love that you said that your wife inspired you. And I'm sure your kids, you know, to get collectively, your kids inspire you guys. Why, what do you see in the future, between both companies, and what is the legacy you're trying to build for your kids? What does that look like? What do you want to impart on your children?
Oh, I was going to say, I think the biggest thing for me is, my idol growing up was my grandmother. My grandmother will be 86 this year. Mm-hmm. And she still travels the world. She's never worked for anyone in her life. She's been a master beautician. She got her master license in beautician in the Bahamas. And her biggest thing was, she always taught me, was you want to own land and you want to own homes and just investments in general. And so at a young age, it was like, oh, okay, and so she pushed me to, and I purchased my first property, which is now one of my investment properties, when I was 21. And for me, it's like looking back at her and the things that she's done, and she's continuing to push me, is you need investments. I want to be able to, it's one thing to leave, your kids a house, or leave them a car. But I want to be able to leave something that we've built as a husband and wife, and we built it from the ground, and it's running itself, and have the kids part of it. But be able to leave things that, one, we own. It's not something that, it's not a franchise. It's not anything like that. We personally own it, and we own it free and clear. And I think for me, it's just being able to leave them something that they can be proud of, that their parents have literally worked their entire life for, to be able to leave that for them and have them succeed in it as well. So that's the big part for me. What would you add to it?
I would have to say is, for me, showing them entrepreneurship. I oftentimes think of like the Italians and like the Asians, how their children are in their businesses, and it is like sort of the way of life. And then when they get older, they can decide whether they want to do that or work for someone, which is completely fine. However, having that exposure makes them that much stronger and gives them one more leg up as to understanding the value of a dollar and how things are actually done. So for me, it's really imparting, hey, you can own your own if you want to, and this is what it looks like.
All of that. We're going to now transition into the fun round. So I'm going to ask some fun questions. Well, not fun, but related to entrepreneurship. But you guys could answer with one simple sentence, and you guys could take turns answering. So who is your favorite entrepreneur right now?
You want to go? Okay. My favorite entrepreneur right now is Gary Vaynerchuk.
Gary. I can see why.
I love his potty mouth, and I love his directness, his realness. And like when I'm getting when I feel myself retracting, I definitely turn him on. I turn him on YouTube or like on the podcast, and like he gets me all the way together.
Keon.
Now, I'm not doing this to get brownie points, but it is my wife.
Brownie points. We might have to wrap this up soon. What is your favorite business tool?
My favorite business tool right now? What am I going to? Oh, there's so many of them. Just one. Okay. You know what? I'm going to say Facebook. I'm going to say it is Facebook. It is a tool. Yes. It is a social media outlet. Yes. But it is the number one revenue generator for us right now. So that's my favorite tool.
Yes. Come through Facebook. And Keon?
Honestly, it would have to be the same. I mean, that's what I've been doing, is just really, I created my own real estate page and really just putting myself out there on Facebook. So for me right now, that is the main way of gaining new clients for me. So,
last book you read?
Last book I read was, I read two at the same time. Which one did I finish last? It was 12-Week Year.
And Keon?
So she gonna laugh at this. So I have to be honest on here. So I hate reading.
You don't read. I was trying to figure out what I was
So
saying.
if I had to think about the last book, it would have to be the next interview.
Or are you giving him the weird eyes? Like, let me see what lie you go with.
No, because I knew the answer. No, I'm not surprised at all.
Hey, this is all about reality too, okay? All about the reality. That's fine. What was the last good deed? And I'm going to ask both. What was the last good deed done for you? And what was the last good deed that you did for someone?
Ooh, okay. Well, I'll use Keon. So the last good deed someone did for me was he sent me to the spa today to get the most amazing massage by my favorite masseuse in the world. And the
so he was just racking up brownie points today, huh?
He really is. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know, but it's been crazy. But and then when he found out that he was going to sell his first house, we got him a custom button-up shirt made with his initials on the cuff.
Aww.
And he really enjoyed the experience of the lady coming here and taking his measurements and all. So I think that was the last good deed I did.
And you, Keon, don't think too hard over there.
The last deed. Let me think about this one. So I would say, but I did everything being my wife. So I'm trying to think of something different. The last deed to me, I would say has been my referral I recently got from one of Charis's best friends. And that's actually the listing I'm currently working on right now. So that would be for that. And then the last one, I do a lot of good deeds. I get joy out of giving.
Yeah.
Either it be advice, either it be, I won't say finances a whole lot, but, either it be finances. But I would say the last good deed was I did my entire family taxes this tax season.
Mm-hmm. Say what? That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, one thing I've loved, just interviewing you both is that you guys genuinely support each other. And I think that's a great takeaway for anyone listening. Whether you guys are in the same industry or you're not, just support your spouse's dream and support each other in whatever you guys are doing, because ultimately, the entire family wins, right? What advice do you guys have for any couples out there, especially entrepreneur couples that, they might be stuck, they're just not sure how to, pivot and take their dreams to the next level? What advice would you guys have for them collectively?
I would say, honestly, going back to what we talked about earlier. So for me, it is take away expectations. Start living, and you have to take risks. And I think that's one thing in the last probably year that I've done is take risks. I've seen amazing success. You will see failure. But if you don't take risks, you will never know. And so I would say take expectations out of the house. Start living and using those, even if it's 2 minutes, whatever opportunity you get with your spouse or kids, just enjoy it.
And for me, Tara, I'm going to say something along the same lines, but when you're both entrepreneurs, you got to realize that you're not going to be booed up every 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to be up in each other's face talking about, baby, I love you every 30 seconds. It's just not reality. So just having a strong understanding of who you are as a couple, who you are as a family, and being on the same page with a lot of things, it really, really helps. So because there's nothing worse than someone having an entrepreneurial journey and then someone else resenting the journey because they're not getting enough time. So it's really great that if both people can understand and have an understanding of where you're going, it makes all the difference in the world.
And that wraps it up for us today, guys. I hope you guys can take away all the wealth of knowledge that was shared today. And guys, where can we reach you if we want to follow you? Where can our listeners find you?
You can find me on social media at Sassy Jones Boutique.
And then for me, the same on social media it's actually Keon Jones. Real estate.
So guys, make sure you go follow them. If you guys have any questions for either Keon or Charis, you could shoot us an email. Visit us at our website, Dreams Inspire Reality, and we'll be happy to get their feedback for you. Guys, thank you so much. I know you guys are busy and you guys have a lot of catching up to do right now because all those brownie points are going to pay off. So, and I look forward to definitely having you guys back on to just catch up and congratulations, Keon, on everything that's happened so far. And you just taking that step, and Charis, of course, the love. And I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud to see, a family of color that's really doing it and being an inspiration to all of us. So congratulations to you guys, and I wish you nothing but success.
Thank you so much, Tara. We appreciate that.
No problem. Hey guys, let's give a quick thanks to our sponsor, Dreams Inspire Reality. Are you unsure of the steps needed to turn your dreams into reality? Have you been sitting on that product idea and not sure how to bring it to market? We've successfully launched tons of products and distribute all over the globe. Let us help you get unstuck and take your idea to market with strategic advice and practical steps. Schedule a consultation today at dreamsinspirereality.com.
Dreams inspire